Welcome back, Seth Bling here. Today I'm going to show you my rendition of Google Calendar in Minecraft. So this is a 24-hour calendar, much like Google Calendar. It only has the 24 hours, it doesn't have different days. It's very restrictive. Right here we can see at 8 a.m. I've got scheduled a meeting with Notch's hat. Now if we take a look up in the sky, the sun is actually approaching 8 a.m. and of course I timed it out like that. So in a few game minutes, which is actually a few seconds, we should be seeing, there we go. We had the appointment was, the timing of the appointment was reached, and so we heard a bunch of sounds, and that was the alarm going off for that appointment. Now, there's some cool stuff you can do with this. First of all, in order to schedule an appointment, you don't have to do anything fancy. All you have to do is put a sign on the wall, and just type in whatever the meeting or appointment or whatever, meeting to take over the world. All right. All you have to do is put that there, and if you feel so inclined, you may even set an alert so that if you're elsewhere out in the world, you'll get alerted when the appointment happens. So in this case, when it hits 9 a.m., I'll have that meeting scheduled, and some redstone will happen. It's actually quite a lot of redstone going on right now, and we'll hear the sound. But if we were too far away to hear the sound, we also get the dog here. And I don't know why he's sitting down. I actually think he should be standing up. But yeah, so it's Google Calendar, and so you can schedule one thing per hour, and it'll notify you and everything. The trapdoor up here is to keep you from falling in, but yeah, if you want to schedule something with your dog, you can do that. You have to put the dog back in there every time you want a notification. If you want to know which meeting it is, you could use the new, they're not leads, name tags. There we go. You could use the new name tags here in the snapshot 16B. And you could name the dog so you could see which appointment it was. Okay, there's kind of a lot of redstone here though, and I want to go over that. Oh, here we see, okay, you might have seen that gravel stack just lower by one, and of course you saw the gravel stack here. So the gravel is actually critical to the way that the calendar works. If I come over here, you can actually see what's going on. In fact, I will just destroy a bunch of these blocks here so we can go back and forth and see what's going on. All right, so when there's this, when there's a sign here, what happens is gravel gets pushed out of this pile, and if there is indeed a sign there, when it lands here, it's going to break because it's intersecting with an existing block. And so that's how it can tell that you have a meeting at that point. If there's no sign there, though, the gravel will land. It won't break, and that's crucial because basically what happens is when it becomes 8 a.m., a piston back here, a piston back here pulls. Hey, Wolfie. This isn't Wolfie though. That's Kurt's dog. Anyway, this block right here gets pulled away by a piston right here and allows the gravel to fall if it is still intact. If it isn't intact, then whatever. And it falls down here where the signal is actually right. It falls into this spot where it'll actually carry a signal from this repeater into this redstone, which triggers some other redstone. But if it's been broken like this one was, then it's not going to trigger that redstone. So I can actually, I think I could show you kind of. So we get that gravel and okay, that was too slow. Anyway, so basically I'm just using the gravel to detect if the sign is there or not. And if the sign is there, then basically a redstone signal comes out here and it triggers all these note blocks. We've got some two-way repeaters, so it'll trigger all the note blocks in the line, and they're set to an appealing pitch, a major chord. And it also triggers that trapdoor down here, which if there's a sitting wolf, it'll drop the wolf into the water down below, which will make the wolf stand, and if you're far enough away, the standing wolf will try and teleport to you. So that's what happens when it's time for that calendar appointment to go off. Maybe we'll catch it again here in a second. There we go. So you can see, since there wasn't a sign there, it just landed, it dropped below, etc. So, and I do have a link to a download in the video description for this video if you'd like to just check out everything for yourself and see how everything works. Because I don't have time in this video to explain all of the redstone. There's quite a lot here. But I will go over, in addition to that, I'll go over some of the mechanics over here. There's a daylight detector, and I'll get to this in a bit, but this is critical for telling when the player has slept and resetting the clock back to 6 a.m. But this is the main driving force here. Okay, there's a lot of redstone here. It's not complicated redstone. It's actually a lot of the same thing, just repeated over and over. But the logic behind it is a little bit complicated. So what we've got here is a clock that ticks on every 1 second. And these are basically a bunch of T flip-flops in a row here. And all put together, they're a binary counter. So if you don't know what binary is, then you can go look it up. There's lots of great resources online for learning about binary. But basically, this counts binary numbers, and it increments the count once every second. So what we get is an output here, which is a binary value of the current time since the last 6 a.m. So we have the on signal is actually 0, the off signal is 1. So we have, well, it's gonna be changing on me as I do this, but 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 0. Okay, so this updates every second. The binary value there updates every second, and basically we have a bunch of binary decoders in here, and so these binary decoders here basically make all of this redstone turn off only if the clock is at a certain binary value. And so for each value on the clock, we have a different binary decoding. So this is this one right here is 12 a.m. and that has a certain encoding, and then 1 a.m. has a different one. If we go over to 6 a.m. right here, we'll see it's all zeros basically. The binary decoder here looks for all zeros, and that's how that's represented here. And it's just a bunch of torches. So this represents a 0, and if I have a little stack like this, it represents a 1. Gets an inverted input. So yeah, so it's a binary decoder coming off of a binary counter hooked up to a 1 second clock. Now the daylight detector here is hooked up to see when the player has slept. And the way it does that is it basically checks when the signal strength from the daylight detector goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, when it goes from 7 to 8. So if we made the time 0, we'll see that the signal strength is 7. And basically that disables this torch, which overrides this monostable circuit here. Again, it's pretty complicated logic, but the components are actually simple. I mean, as with all redstone machinery, the components are always simple, but how you put them together is hard. Okay, so then when we hit a strength of 8, we saw there was a pulse here, and that reset the clock. Was there a pulse there? I'm not convinced. I wasn't really paying attention. So we have a set strength of 7. When it comes to 8, we should see a pulse out of here for about 1.2 seconds. There we go. And that reset the whole thing here. Interesting. It looks like it's a little bit buggy though. That wasn't happening before. Anyway, these are all supposed to be set out here at this point. And that was working just fine before. I'm not really sure what happened just now. But there is a lot of lag caused by all this piston stuff going on, so it's possible that's just messing with how things are working. But I mean, that's pretty much an overview of how this thing works. It's got kind of cool functionality. I don't think I've ever seen anyone build a sign detector before like that, and that's what the whole thing is based around. But there is a lot of complicated circuitry for keeping track of the time and then making sure you can reset the time when the player sleeps. But yeah, like I said, you can download this whole world from the link in the video description and check it out for yourself. see how all the individual components work, and maybe learn something. One thing I'll note is that the gravel stacks here will eventually deplete over time, so they're kind of the fuel for the Google Calendar in Minecraft. You have to restock those every once in a while. This whole thing isn't really meant to be very practical for survival. I thought it was just something neat to build. That's about it. Thanks for watching.